Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational, as brought to you by the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. I want one. I want three, actually, if possible.
I don't know what you would need three for. Well, I mean, you are TotalBiscuit, so I guess you might, but I wouldn't mind to have one. Is it... did you mention that they have, like, a big warranty, like a 10-year or something?
10 years! That's insane. Like, it's an industry first. I remember back when SSDs first became a thing, and the biggest concern, other than the fact that they cost a fortune and were absolutely tiny size, was, oh, these things eventually kind of run out. Like, it was not just a mechanical failure like a hard drive. They had a certain number of writes they could do, and then they ran out, and you couldn't do anything with them anymore. Now, technology's advanced to the point where they can give a decade's warranty on one. It's insane.
To put 10 years into perspective for esports, that's StarCraft 1 before StarCraft 2, okay? That's like, it's pretty crazy. Like, that's, wow. You know, that would basically cover my entire StarCraft 1 career before I went to Korea. That's a big warranty right there.
Wow. Brood War loading on a SATA 3 SSD. I think that would load before you click the load button. Be that good.
It would guess that you are going to do that and load it for you.
It has foreseen. Oh, man. Such a cool piece of tech, and of course, thank you very much. This is actually SanDisk's first ever esports event. They're dipping their toe in the water, so we'd like to welcome them and certainly hope that they're enjoying the event so far. I know their Twitter account's been very active. They've been keeping abreast of all of the promotion and hype, so hopefully there's a few StarCraft fans over there.
Yeah, you know what? It's, I'm sure you had something to do with this, TotalBiscuit, but if this is their first esport event, congratulations to them for choosing the greatest esport game to do it in.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. You know, what other esport game has Flash just sitting around waiting to play StarCraft 2 for you? You know? No, none of them. Absolutely none of them. And hopefully there never will be another game that has Flash sitting around ready to play, unless its name is StarCraft 3, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah. One day. That's a long time in the future, though.
Indeed. So, let's talk about this. The ultimate weapon versus the smiling assassin. This is a guy, of course, that has been performing incredibly in Pro League, and yet in StarCraft 2, outside of a couple of fairly small events like the Kesper exhibition at that famous MLG, hasn't really put too many results on the board. Versus, of course, a man that has won IEMs back-to-back.
Yeah. You know, he's won those IEMs back-to-back, but of course, that devastating loss at the IEM World Championships, I feel bad because I laugh every time I talk about it.
Oh, man.
Because it was such a one-sided finals where he went home with $0 against the 100K of SOS. It was, oh my god, I can't even think of anything more heartbreaking than that for herO.
You know, if I could, I'd try and consider SOS to be the greatest villain of our time, but as we know, Sniper still breathes, so it is not possible. And SOS is just too likable. I'm sorry. Most man and most humble guy, so very cool. And when the big money's out there, he brings it when it counts. I gotta say, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Anyone with a picture like him winning BlizzCon, that jumping, smiling picture of him in the air, I mean, you can't count him as a villain, unfortunately. So, you know, herO, he's had some tough luck when he's gone to the end of tournaments, but as you said, you know, he's second overall in Pro League, which is crazy. And there's only one Protoss in the top 7. It's him. But he's going up against someone who is actually, like, 4th overall in Pro League, which is Flash. So, I mean, this is, like, what a great day of StarCraft. A best of 3 between these two.
Yep. And our vetoes are in. That means Flash has taken a chance to ride on the merry-go-round as the first map there. And CJ herO picks Frost, and then Outboxer being the last map here.
All right, I mean, this is a good set of choices, if you ask me. Merry-Go-Round is a very tough map to take a third base on against Terran. I think this is, like, the best pick for Flash. And then Protoss is just like to pick Frost. You know, it's a pretty normal map. They feel like they have pretty good games on there overall. So, should be a good series.
I think so. Man, Flash is playing in my tournament. Coolest day of my life. Gotta say, you know. Second coolest after my wedding, anyway. I don't want my wife to come up and strangle me in the middle of this cast, because it does make casting a little tricky. Just keeping things on the level when it comes to marital relations. But it's, to be honest, she'd understand. It's Flash. You know?
Look, it's a small asterisk, a small footnote. It's fine. You know, it's it is Flash, and I'm sure that she understands this, being a StarCraft fan herself. So, I mean, this is fantastic. I'm in a lobby with Flash, man. I love stuff like this. I have worshipped this man for so many years.
Indeed. And they are ready to go. It begins. Let us go. The countdown has now begun. Merry-Go-Round will be the first arena for our best of 3 series between 2 absolutely incredible players.
This is going to be sick, man. I cannot wait. The last time these guys played, though, Flash did win in Pro League. But I'll chalk that up to a hero mistake. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute here after we get them introduced.
That we absolutely will. Going into the game right now, it will be a best of 3, of course. And we'll get a chance to see them again, even if one of them loses, which of course they will. That's pretty much guaranteed. But here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Merry-Go-Round. To the south position. In the red trunks, playing Terran, they call him the ultimate weapon, KT Rolster's Flash.
And in the top right, one of the friendliest but deadliest guys you can know in StarCraft 2, the smiling assassin. It is SanDisk herO.
It is indeed. What a monster. What a captain as well, you know. I mean, he really has captained that team. Even though Effort is technically that captain, I feel like herO leads from the front in a really big way for SanDisk.
Oh, he's their ace, and he's got like such a positive attitude, which I think is one of the most important things for one of the better and most important members of your team to have, you know? Even though he lost all these events at the high level, like the finals there, and then he got knocked out of Codes as soon as he got back, and you know he's had some tough runs like that, despite some big IEM wins as well. He stays really positive and really kind of cheery overall.
Yeah, he does. He is called the Smiling Assassin for a very good reason. Flash always seems very stone-faced, certainly very serious outside of the occasional screen cap where he's wiggling his eyes around in an amusing fashion, but he doesn't mess around. He has a little bit of fun from time to time, but this guy is one of the most famous StarCraft players to ever have graced this earth, and he acts like it, even though, unfortunately, his individual performance in StarCraft 2 has not really been up to par yet.
No, not yet. Well, I mean, that's funny to say because he's still one of the best in the world.
Indeed.
But
yeah.
It's not up to par to what he did in StarCraft 1, which is be the greatest of all time at the hardest game of all time. So, I mean, that's pretty sick, right? I mean, it's all right.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I do want to mention once again, as I was kind of talking about before, these guys played really recently in Pro League, and Flash did beat herO on King Sejong Station, but herO had him dead and just attack moved up a ramp. And Flash, and the thing is, he still would have killed most people, but Flash came back from there and killed him. And, you know, I wonder if that's weighing heavily on herO's mind, because that's a pretty tough loss to take right there when you throw it away pretty heavily like that.
Yeah, it really, really is, because you knew you had him. You absolutely knew it, and then I think when you lose a game like that, the doubts creep into your mind. It's like, is this guy really that good that I had him on the ropes and he just hit me with a haymaker out of nowhere? Or was I just that bad that I didn't see it coming?
Yeah, I suppose so. But to show that Flash actually has a lot of respect for herO, even though he did beat him on King Sejong Station, I was watching the veto process, and Flash actually vetoed that map. So he's saying, he basically had me once, and I don't want to play on that map again.
Absolutely. Now, that is an interesting little bit of pylon placement here from CJ herO over to the west of the map.
Well, if I had to guess, that's for a Stargate right there.
Yep, I think it might be.
There it is. Well, that'll definitely give him a good angle to fly in with an Oracle.
That said, Engineering Bay's already up.
That's true, actually. Flash really likes to get a super fast +1 attack in this matchup. We see him actually do this pretty often when he plays TVP. And, it obviously allows his Marines to get a little bit more bang for their buck. But will he be in position when this Oracle comes? Because so far to him, things look kind of normal coming out of herO, right? I mean, he's got his fast expand up, and he can't really tell if this is a Stargate build or not.
Yeah, he's not actually managed to count all the pylons. He didn't see the one to the south of the base, so really he's kind of playing blind. So he doesn't know if one's missing. He can't get into the base because CJ hero's defense and denial so far of the scout has been pretty much impeccable. And you know, this is not some gold leaguer. You don't build random missile turrets. You know, if you can skip that, that's 100 minerals that could be spent somewhere else. And if Flash doesn't suspect an Oracle and isn't in position with Marines, he's going to have a hard time. But he does have a few. The problem is the Oracle is about to finish.
Yeah, well, Flash, you know, he knows his timings at least. He does have a good amount of Marines in his main base and in his natural, so he's kind of watching for this to happen. But that doesn't mean this Oracle can't fly in and still get a bunch of SCV kills, because those Marines are not perfectly placed.
No, they're absolutely not. They're just edging forward just as you say that. And in comes the Oracle. Flash reacts immediately to this to try and shut it down. +1, of course, is about to finish. And, oh, herO! He's so close. Zaps that Marine. He's trying to get out of there. How good is hero's control? The answer is fantastic. And out he gets.
Yeah, I actually would have lost that Oracle for sure, but he juked and jived just right, got out of there, but still, it's really low on health, and he only got 1 kill so far, so not really that successful.
No, not really. It was shut down nicely, and the last thing you want to do is dip in again with low health against +1 Marines. That's even worse. And as missile turrets come down as well, Flash has no intention of allowing this to go any further, but herO recognizes that this is not going to be a thing, and goes straight into Robo Bay.
Well, he definitely does need to get some splash damage out relatively soon here. Seeing that eBay, seeing the amount of Marines on the map, he knows that this is going to be a pretty aggressive set of units from Flash. And if he doesn't actually get Colossus out relatively soon, how is he going to stop all those +1 Marines?
He's not. It's as simple as that. A big Marine Marauder medevac force with the +1 upgrade so early on and stim, especially considering he's going for +1 armor as well. It's going to shred Gateway. He knows that. So he needs an answer. The question is, can he get it out fast enough? Will we see Flash be able to drop Harass? I mean, this is just a 2-base Protoss. So defending this, especially with Photon Overcharge, won't be too hard. I wonder, when do you think Flash decides to push with this?
Well, you know, I think as these medevacs start popping out, he'll walk over and start to put on, like, a little bit of pressure, do a little bit of a contain, because he is getting that 3rd command center. So he wants to have his 3-base economy up, but I think this game is going to be mostly focused on making sure herO doesn't easily take his own 3rd base, which, on Merry-Go-Round, is a very good strategy.
At the moment, we're just seeing him ward away that Oracle. There's a Viking out now. I mean, I think he just says, there's no way I am allowing this Oracle to do anything. I know you proxied that Stargate, and I also know that that Oracle did not pay for itself. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So I'm going to make sure, I'm going to be extra certain that you can't make anything happen there. Always nice to have a Viking out as well. Just, 1, to start building it up against the Colossus, and secondly, to take out errant observers that are trying to get away. It's always good to have. Flash pushing out on the map here.
Well, he should be pushing out right about now. Ooh, going after that Oracle, not quite getting it. But herO has taken that 3rd base, so will Flash be able to actually put pressure on? This is like the ideal time for him to either, pick off a few important units, maybe pick off a few probes, a couple buildings in the main base, maybe try to force a cancel or at least delay mining time of the 3rd. This is really that important time.
The question is just how much can he do? A great use of the Revelation there to keep an eye on Flash's army, because herO knows this is a vulnerable time for him. He needs to hold that 3rd base. This is a time when Photon Overcharge perhaps becomes progressively less effective, having to try and defend 3 places at once. It's also the time when Drop Harass comes in. He's prepared for that. He's got a good number of Stalkers in there. And I think he realizes that Flash is not going to want to hit the front just yet.
Well, that tag was really important. It just keeps herO feeling really confident. In fact, it's still going on. This is something we actually don't see used enough, despite how many Oracles we see and how much we do see it. It's so powerful, and it made herO just feel completely safe during that time. And now he realizes, okay, I got to keep an eye on everything. And as we look at that mini-map, he has plenty of blue all over the place. This is actually a great spread by herO.
Yeah, he's got the Zealot run-by coming in, making use of that pylon off to the side, making sure it isn't wasted. The Oracle does go down, but not before it throws down yet another Revelation. Flash gets his wish and takes it out with the Vikings. Not too much damage done by the Zealot run-by, just wasted mining time. No actual workers killed. Flash still trying to catch up on workers, but of course he does have those ever-precious mules, so he shouldn't have too much of a problem there.
Yeah, his economy looking pretty good, and he does have ghosts about to pop out. Now, as these ghosts pop out, and +2 attack is finishing, I wonder, are we going to end up seeing an SCV pull? Because that is really popular once again in this matchup.
It could very well work. It can be a bit risky. If you get caught out, especially if there's a lot of force fields around, then those Colossus can murder the SCVs that come into the front. But if they get through and they buffer those crucial initial hits, and here they come, a few SCVs, not too many, but enough to buffer at the front, absorb Zealot charges, absorb the first few shots of the Colossi.
This is definitely not an all-in SCV pull. This is something else that we don't see nearly as often. This is just 11 SCVs that he's pulled. So we'll see how well this does for him. Definitely can stand to lose 11 and still play this game out.
Yeah, certainly. He also has an army supply advantage, so this is a lot beefier than it has any right to be. Can Flash get the good engagement, though? He's looking for it right now. He's posturing. Down goes the photon overcharge. Flash immediately pulls back.
Ooh, stem's right there, and the stem is wasted a little bit, but he goes
right
up into this natural. Ooh, I really like this move by Flash. He's going to be able to pick off this natural, but his army is stuck, so he's going to have to turn around and fight as well.
Yep, this can be pretty risky. He's going to need to take down those Colossus. He needs the SCVs at the front to buffer. They're not quite there, and Flash taking a lot of damage, but the Zealot wall is pretty much gone. The Stalkers blink under the Vikings. The Ghosts die here as well. Colossus come in from the side, and even though that Nexus goes down, herO is able to get the majority of that army from Flash put in the ground. That said, the economic damage here for both players was huge, but more so for herO.
Yeah, he's down to 25 probes. That's like no economy at all. And don't forget, Flash has those mules. So did Flash do enough damage to the actual army itself, I guess is the real question. Well, you know what? He killed all the Colossus. There's only 2 sentries left, and that just leaves Zealots and Stalkers. So I think that he did. I'm liking Flash's position here over herO's.
It's looking okay, isn't it? The errant Viking, the lost Viking, is on his way to try and take the Colossus. He gets it down to half health, not bad. The sentries not doing their job there, certainly. But the Stalkers do finish it off. Hell, any damage you can do to a Colossus, the better it is. Take that thing down before it shoots too much. +3 weapons on the way here for Flash, and now he knows he has to survive the counterattack. The bunkers are not done yet, but only Blink Stalkers against those +2 Marauders? You don't want that. herO needs to wait. He knows that. He's bringing the Zealots in. There are no Ghosts this time, but the bunkers are just finishing off. SCVs coming off the line as well. That last Colossus at the back is doing so much, and it hasn't been picked off as of yet. Can Flash hold? Another bunker completes, and this force from herO just barely is not able to break the front.
Wow, he actually did a lot more damage to that attack than I thought he would. That one Colossus. Oh man, that Viking is really sad that it didn't kill it off now, because that did a ton of work there. But at the end of the day, Flash holds. Even though he loses some more SCVs, he still has more SCVs than there are probes. And he does have those mules dropping, so still liking the position of Flash here.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. We do have Chrono Boost being applied. Getting when behind Go Dark Shrine by the looks of it. It is on its way. Of course, that could be for Archons, but we'll see what happens there. Regardless, more Colossi are out. He notices, you know what? Viking count isn't very high. Might be a good time to get those back up. I never realized Flash actually landed his factory in the natural and started building Widow Mines in herO's natural.
Oh, I didn't notice that either. That's hilarious. Oh, I love moves like that. That's so cool to see.
Does get shut down eventually, but Flash's army's looking terrifying. Look at the Marauder count here.
Wow, his army is really, really scary. And the fact that he's still got a reasonable amount of medevacs and is able to create some Vikings, because really Colossus is the only chance for herO, that's good to see for him as well.
Definitely,
and you know, back to that Dark Shrine, I like this idea also, because he knows that a lot of SCVs have died, which means Flash really doesn't want to have to use scans.
No.
A big part of his lead right now is the fact that he has mules.
That is very true. Flash is about to be on 3-1. He's going to be up against 2-2, so it does even out a little bit. But that +3 upgrade for Marines matters a lot. You know, you're adding 50% onto their overall DPS once you've got that upgrade versus unupgraded. So that's always nice to have. Stalker hit squad on the way. It definitely doesn't want to be there. He discovers that. But he does get some interesting information about Flash's composition, and herO should be worried right now. We are talking 90 supply versus 140.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty tough to overcome, especially when you don't have Psy Storm. That's a huge issue here. 4 medevacs, 7 Vikings, or 8 Vikings now. Yeah, no, this keeps, no matter how I look at it, no matter how I try to be optimistic for herO, I keep seeing Flash taking this game.
I do like the DT harass at the third. That's forced all the workers off the line, done some damage, and he's now making his way in. And it's exactly what you said. There's not a lot of scan energy, and honestly, there's not really all that many units to stop him anyway, because the bulk of that army is at the front. But frankly, harass is cute. It doesn't stop the sledgehammer at the front. He has to prevent his third base from going down. Photonova charge is there. The focus fire coming in right here from Flash. We need to see an amazing engagement from herO, but there's so much firepower coming in here from the Terran player. Colossus falls time and time again. Can herO hold on? His army crumbled.
Well, herO did as well as he could, but there was just no stopping Flash after that masterful attack before. And GG, Flash takes game number 1.
Indeed, he does. And what a game that was. Flash on fire today against herO, who played pretty well at the start, but that pull, it did what it needed to do. And it was such a ballsy play there by Flash as well. We're talking about something that could go so very horribly wrong. You get sandwiched in between 2 Protoss armies, the AoE cuts you to pieces, the counterattack crushes your natural. That all could have happened. But Flash said, you know what, I'm okay with that.
I really liked his play there, man. I love how he, like, stimmed towards the third base, made herO fall back, use some of his spells there, and then was like, oh, no, forget it. I'll just go kill your natural. You can kill my army as long as I trade okay. And that's exactly how it went down for him. So some great play coming out from Flash. But again, Merry-Go-Round, I really do feel like that is a good map for Terran vs. Protoss. And Frost should be a bit more even.
Yeah, I certainly think so. It's not that herO played badly, it's just Flash's aggression and his timings there were bang on every single time. Did we see Flash make any mistakes whatsoever? Not really.
Yeah, he played a pretty fantastic game. And, you know, that's the thing. We see Flash play a lot of really fantastic games, and then he goes into that best-of-3 format and eventually loses. So will that be the case here today? I certainly hope not. I really want to see him advance.
Yeah, I do as well. It would be great. All of the discussion that was going on prior to this was saying, oh, Flash is just such a big get, great invite, but look at his record in individual tournaments, especially in GSL dual tournament format. It just hasn't worked out for him. Do we expect a repeat result? Well, if he keeps playing like this, we are not going to see a repeat result at all, and we will see Flash in the round of 4 in best of 7s, when was the last time we saw Flash play a best of 7?
Oh, God. Wait, I think he played one at the beginning of Heart of the Swarm at MLG, didn't he?
I believe
against
he might
Life,
have.
I believe, in fact, who he may be playing next.
I would love to see that rematch. That was the Hyper series. So good.
It was sick, for sure. That would be an awesome rematch to see.
It would. There's no real doubt about that. We're not going to hold on here. Absolutely not. You want to see the next. Confirmation from both players. They're ready to rock and roll. Currently, Flash leads 1-0 against CJ herO, and Frost will be the venue for the next encounter.
All right, Frost. I like the map, TotalBiscuit. It's a big one. It's a good one. This is where we see most of our epic normal and macro games right now in Starcraft 2.
Yeah, it is. And I'd love to see that. Absolutely. These guys are both brilliant when it comes to the big macro games. Let's see if they can pull something extra special out. And more to the point, can herO come back into this after getting roughed up pretty badly in Game 1? We're about to find out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Frost. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you our Terran player, currently leading 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. In the red trunks, KT Flash.
And in the top right of our map, getting kind of crushed there in the last game on Merry-Go-Round, the Smiling Assassin, it is CJ herO.
Now, I've got to say, after a drubbing like that, I don't know if he's smiling right now, but it is herO. I mean, he is eternally optimistic regardless of the situation, and he's been in this situation 1,000 times before.
Yes, indeed. Maybe not smiling exactly after that game, but hopefully smiling after this one. I really want to see all these matches go to 3 games here today. These guys are just, like, way too good for us to be seeing 2-0s all over the place.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I'm hoping to see some really, really awesome games. So far, it has delivered. No doubt about that. We've already had some great macro games and a crazy cheese and a highly aggressive attack, which is exactly what you want to see. You want that variety in there, but let's see if we get another long game out of these guys. Flash, so far, so standard for him, and looks like we might be seeing a Nexus first here from herO.
Oh, that's actually really cool to see. It's a build that's actually really come out of style overall during Heart of the Swarm, you know? Like, since the Reaper got better, people just don't like to do it as much. And in fact, it looks like it is a Reaper opening here from Flash, so there's a possibility that he can actually put some real damage on herO for doing this.
And he is SCV scouting as well, which I really like. He's not going to roll the dice on whether or not the Reaper turns up in the right place, and he's going to scout the location he needs to first, which is about as good as it gets.
Now, a lot of this is going to come down to building placement from herO. If he can really, like, down the surface area that the Reaper can run in and out of to harass probes, then he might be able to get a Zealot out quick enough to push the Reaper just enough that it doesn't get a bunch of probe kills. But, like, for instance, if he wasn't putting these buildings in the corners of his base right now, this Reaper would probably get, like, 4 kills.
Flash with the bunker on the high ground in the base of herO. And, the probes are going to have to be pulled to stop this from going up. The Zealot will not be ready in time to prevent this. The probes, on the other hand, I think he's just going to let it happen. He realizes, you know what, I can't stop this from going up.
Well, that's going to be to stop any probes or Zealots or anything from chasing him too far, but really the Zealot's only job is to take hits so that the probes don't. He doesn't want to lose any probes here.
Yeah, and he's taking hits, there's no doubt about that. Shields are down. Thankfully, of course, the 2/3 of the health is in actual physical health, so he'll be able to take a few more hits like this, and there is no second Reaper following this up. It's just going to be Engineering Bay. He's going straight into his regular build. Almost gets the Zealot. Zealot has now been pulled back. A second Zealot is available. Probe has been killed. Flash's micro so far impeccable.
Yep, and the Zealots overall and the building placement really have done their jobs, right? I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
He's ended up killing one worker and damaging a Zealot. That's
emotion
totally
calls out
fine
now,
for a
so.
Nexus first.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
He gets away with it. It seems great from Flash, and it would be terrible if he lost that Reaper, but he's able to pull that out there, and he gets another couple of probe kills for his trouble. And it was still nice for Flash. It's not like he invested a huge amount doing that, but herO mitigated it as best as he possibly could have. And bear in mind, he got his Nexus up before Flash's command center.
Yeah, it's a super fast Nexus. His economy is going to be pretty out of control. You got some good scouting on him, though. So, you know, Flash is not going to be feeling too bad about this. I think that was a pretty even opening overall.
Yeah. We don't generally see hugely decisive moves early in the game between players of this caliber. It is a chess game.
Unless it's life.
No. Yes, that's very true. Unless it is life. It just says, you know what, I'm just going to turn it on right now. It is a chess game. Every single move matters. It might not be obvious, but not every move is going to be taking the queen. But every move matters, and it is all part of that grander strategy. And both of these players are masters of that.
Indeed they are. We see Flash here going once again for the very quick eBay, getting that +1. We do have the Robo up for herO here. And I wonder which strategy he's going to go for, because he's got a nice quick 4 gas as well. We could see him go into a rather large Colossus push. He really likes
there
those.
It is. Very big. It's a very super-esque build. And we've seen him execute that time and time again. Just monstrous 2-base Colossus pressure against Terran.
Yeah.
And it can very much catch a Terran off guard, especially if they are behind in their tech for whatever reason, or maybe they try drop harass, lose a medevac worth of units, and suddenly Colossus just roll over you. Or if they just don't read into it correctly, and they end up with 4 medevacs versus 2 Colossus plus a gateway push, no Vikings to deal with it.
And, you know, he's already getting ready for that. In fact, adding those gateways over near the 3 pylons he's lined up to power all his gates. Looking pretty good here for herO. But Flash should be able to figure out what's going on here pretty quickly. You know, I'm sure he's already spotted that there are observers around the map.
Yeah.
So, pretty good idea what's going on.
Do Flash's Reapers ever actually die? I think it's a question that should be asked, because this one has done really well for itself. It's got the kills, it continues to stay alive even after running into the entire Protoss army. It still gets out of there. And we're seeing Double Forge plus Blink plus Colossus out of herO on 2 bases.
This screams for an SCV pull to occur, but even an SCV pull against this may not work this game because it was a Nexus first. Because this is like the most unbelievably greedy game from herO. If you go Double Forge, Blink, and Colossus into a 3rd base, SCV pull will kill you. But if you were also greedy enough to open up with a Nexus first, you might be able to actually hold on against anything.
Yeah,
so this is like, herO's going for broke here, man.
What a really cool build from herO. And of course, playing to the strengths of the Protoss. What tech are you going to go for, Protoss player? How about all of them today? That would work pretty well. And I'll just have a little bit of everything.
Well, everything on the menu for him, and they're going to work pretty well together, especially that Double Forge. I'm getting a little bit nervous here for Flash, because he's only on 3 Raxes. Yeah, sure, he has his 3rd command center, but I don't foresee any timing attacks incoming that he can actually hit. The best he can do, really, is put on pressure and do a little bit of harassment.
Yeah.
And that's not a good place to be in against herO.
No, it's not brilliant, is it? He's so late on his combat shield as well, so it's very risky for him to go near anything. It's very risky to go within 10 miles of a Colossus right now with only 45 HP per Marine. It's not what you want to do. And he has established a solid 3-base economy. Definitely give him credit for that. He is keeping up in terms of workers. The Nexus just finished here for herO. So Flash kind of trying to even things out with a bit of quick read of his own. And, wow, actually a fairly severe supply block there just for a second for Flash, but he cleans it up.
Well, you know, he's going to have to stay on top of that macro because herO certainly is going to. I mean, with 3 bases up at this point, Double Forge going, he's going to start that 2-2 rather quickly. That's actually the really scary part. When he starts getting 1, 2, or 3 upgrades ahead of Flash, that's when it's like attack move time for Protoss. Flash really has to get a 2nd eBay going pretty soon here.
Yeah, either that or do some significant damage. The last thing he wants to do is sit around and just let a Protoss player tech on 3 bases. The Colossus extended range is not done yet, but there's still 3 Colossus out. Flash he has no Vikings, and his Marauder count isn't really big enough to justify any kind of full frontal assault. He may elect to try and exploit the cliff up here to maybe do some damage to the probe line, but there is already a pylon there to keep an eye on it. Not that that pylon would last very long.
No, certainly, but that is the type of move that I feel like he does need to end up making. But you know what? He's adding his 2nd starport, and when you see that 2nd starport added on 3 bases like this, you know, that tells you the Terran really does get what's going on. He realizes, uh-oh, I need to get my Viking count up huge quickly. And a lot of times that does go with the SCV pull we were talking about earlier.
I love what Flash does. He's one of the only Terrans to really do this. He says, you know what's really, really good against my 3rd base? Zealot run-bys. You know what's really good against Zealots? A wall of supply depots.
Very, very true. He has one little hole. I think he needs to make one more depot.
Yeah, there he is. I was afraid he was going to leave an SCV on hold position. It's like, that does not work well against Psyblades, bro, and you know that.
That is just so funny looking, because the thing is, he's basically conceding that, okay, if you Zealot harass me, that's a reasonable move. I can stop that with this. If herO gets that far with an attack and kills all those depots, Flash is probably dead anyways.
Crippling,
so you may as well build him there.
Yeah, it would absolutely be crippling, and if that happens, Flash, of course, wants to fight in the center of the map, where it's nice and open, where you can get the wraparound, where you can just get behind that wall of Zealots, get at those fragile Colossi. But so far, he's not really been able to get anything done. And that's the worst situation you could possibly be in, where you just see that gigantic Zealot warp in there from CJ herO, who is sitting now. That's 11 gateways, actually. He's just finished 2 more. His upgrade count is getting silly. He has started his 3-3. And if we look at Flash's upgrades, 2-1. That's not up to snuff.
No, when 3-3 finishes, that's like death timing for Flash, man. That's really bad. He cannot be that many upgrades behind. And without that 2nd Forge, I am getting a little bit more nervous for him. But you know what is really funny here is herO's just saying, you know, High Templars, I guess they're a pretty good unit, but screw them. I don't need them this game. I've got the upgrades and the macro.
And he does. That's certainly not arrogance from CJ herO. He has what he needs. That is a scary-looking army with a lot of meat at the front. And he's going in before 3-3 finishes, of course, because that is it's a big upgrade. It takes a long time. And Stalker's at the front, taking significant damage, actually. A good little engagement there for Flash, who's actually been on top of his control. But look what's in the main base!
Oh man, that is a gigantic warping of Zealots going all over the place, killing add-ons. I love targeting down the reactor, splitting up his Zealots as well, even killing off some SCVs.
What a brilliant move there. Just a bit of a poke. He says, you know what, that's sacrificial. Oh no, the supply depot wall is collapsing!
Okay, he only gets one for now, but does have to run away. You know, he does know that Flash is maxed out here, has a very scary and formidable army as well. And doing a real engagement right before 3-3 finishes, really an anti-timing.
Man, this harasser's worked so well. He caught Marauders that were just coming up down the line. He supply blocked Flash, that one crucial supply depot going down there. He forced SCVs to be pulled off the line. He killed some workers. Not a huge number. You gotta give credit to Flash. He pulled exactly when he needed to, and he avoided the vast majority of economic damage there. But that is the kind of harass that herO needs because it bought him the time to get 3-3. And now it's complete. And yeah. Flash is... He's going for 3-1 here, but if Flash fights for the next couple of minutes, he's going to be way behind.
That is very, very true. He's got to be so careful about that with 2-1 against 3-3. Being down 1 upgrade is really bad. Being down 2 can be game-ending. Being down 3 is a travesty, so yeah. He needs at least this +3 attack to finish up before he does a real engagement.
The Great Wall of Flash is coming down again. There's a bit of a hole as these Zealots come in, but the majority of the army is there to deal with it. And herO again postures, but is not quite able to get that fight that he wants. I mean, the Viking count is scary high. 16, actually a bit too high, in my opinion, if this big storm transition ends up hitting. That's always that difficult spot you end up in as Terran, where you know you've got to get these specialist units, but you also know that a Protoss player is going to take an opportunity to do something ridiculous like a 4 Dark Templar run by, a big, it's just horrible. Oh no, the wall is coming down again. He wants that wall. It is gonna collapse again. And a nice little bit of harass, a bit of 1-2 here from herO.
I gotta say, herO might be playing almost too well this game. He's all over the place. He is really dictating everything that's going on. He's pushing harasses at all sides. Flash can't even turtle on 3 bases right now against him.
No, because there's these Zealot run-bys, Dark Templar run-bys, Warp Prism drops, and of course oh, he's just had enough. Flash is going to go for it. Actually, not a bad fight. He gets a lot of the Stalkers at the front. He's killing the Colossus very quickly here, but the Zealots have come in, and the upgrade count is massively in favor. There are even Dark Templar in the mix and no scan energy. Flash's army is being sliced to pieces.
Oh, this is so painful. Even after killing all those Colossi with a lot of Vikings left, he has to GG. The ground forces of herO just too strong.
Could you call that a perfect game from herO? I think you probably could.
Yeah,
it was that good.
That was as close to a perfect Protoss versus Terran game that you're likely to see this year. Like, that was insanity. I don't expect that type of play really ever. Every move he made... you know, you said it beautifully how, like, that Zealot harassment was specifically to buy time for his 3-3 to finish, but then also, at the same time, he's like, oh, you know what, while you're dealing with that, I'm going to kill 2 depots. Okay, now back up. It was like, just everything about herO's play was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it really was. And it is a tough position to be in. Flash lived on his side of the map for that whole game. And herO dictated everything. Flash defended maybe as well as he could have in the circumstances, but the Nexus first, perhaps, is what led to that happening. It was just the catalyst for everything that herO was able to do.
Yeah, it was just perfectly defended. You know, he made the 2 Zealots. The thing is, Flash did really well with that as well. He got the bunker up just in case herO messed up at all. You know, he put a lot of damage on the Zealot. He did still end up killing 2 probes, but... at the end of the day, like, everything about herO's play was put together just in a godlike way.
Yeah, it was flawless. Absolutely.
I'm so impressed. I can't even, like, I'm not just saying this. It's like, that was just, I'll be rewatching that 3-4 times just to, you know, improve my own play. It's just so well done. That's like a textbook of how you do a Nexus first into crushing one of the best Terrans in the whole world.
Yeah. If anyone thought that these guys were not going to bring their A game just because this is an online invitational and they're able to play it in their pajamas, you were incorrect. Very, very incorrect. And Flash has learned that to his cost and is going to have to play an impeccable game next. But we have seen he's able to do it, you know. The first game, Flash plays perfectly. His aggression's spot on every time. His timing's perfect. Then herO turns it around, does the same thing to him. And then, of course, we get to see a Decider on Outboxer once again. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to bring you the Decider. You wanted those games going to 3? You're going to get them. Flash versus herO in the Decider. Who will advance to play life? Who will fall to play innovation? I don't think there's a bad result in any of that. We'll be back after the break, folks. You're watching the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational, brought to you by SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. We're having a lot of fun here. I certainly hope you are too. My name is TotalBiscuit, joined by the master of analysis himself, Mr. Artosis.
Oh man, this has been a ridiculously good day already. Like, if we just ended it right now, we're like, that's it, guys, it would still have been an amazing day of StarCraft with some nearly flawless games, as well as some sloppy, aggressive games, which, as aggressive games always go, are sloppy. You know, fantastic. But the fact that we are now in game number 3, Flash against here, where both of them played pretty flawlessly before.
Damn.
I have no idea the way that this is going to go.
I can't call it. I cannot. I lack the ability to do so. These guys are playing out of their minds at the moment. And really, you can't necessarily blame Flash for falling to the flawless host of CJ herO. It was so well executed. Like, I don't see any Terran on the planet surviving in that situation. No. You've got to somehow catch him out early, but he wasn't able to do it.
No, certainly not. It was something else, man.
It really was. Now, how is it going to go? The Decider is here, ladies and gentlemen, to the southeast position. The man who played a flawless Game 1 and then had inflicted upon him a flawless Protoss Game 2. Can he bring it out under pressure? He is so good at that. In the blue trunks, to the southeast position, playing Terran, Katie Rolster's Flash.
And in the top left of our map, playing a game that, well, if that were the game that you watched today, you would go home thinking Protoss Imba. It is CJ Entus herO.
I often come away from CJ Entus herO games feeling Protoss Imba, honestly. He is just that good. You know, there's only a couple of Protoss that are on his level. People like Zest, people like Parting. But they are, when I say on his level, that's what I mean. I'm not talking about, he's a little bit behind him. No. He is on that level.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to put herO right about top 3 Protoss in the world. You know, there's just a handful of names that you can really talk about and be like, these are the best. These are the best, right? There's like, maybe there's 5 of each race that can be argued. And pretty much everyone in this entire Shoutcraft is one of those players.
Yeah, they're top. They're absolutely top-notch in every respect. And I don't know if I can call it Group of Death here. I mean, maybe Group A is slightly stronger, but only very, very slightly. And I think historically, you could certainly argue for Group B, maybe even currently.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, most fans, most StarCraft enthusiasts would look at it and say Group A is the Group of Death. But I mean, if you look at it, StarCraft 2 historically, anything with DRG in it can be argued as the craziest, right? I mean, that guy has done so much.
Yeah, and Liquid herO is also maybe the most annoying Protoss on the planet. Like, he will bring it out when it's not expected. He is able to bring flawless games, and his micro is infuriating. I remember watching him versus Jaedong at IEM Cologne, and just screaming as his Immortal micro with his Warp Prism was basically perfect. It's like, how do you beat that?
Yeah, he was parting before parting was cool, man. Like, he's the hipster parting or something. Like, just unbelievable in his control, and he's won quite a few tournaments as well.
Flash with the eBay block, getting a little bit cheeky here, gets it up to almost full health before herO realizes and is able to react, and then brings the Reaper as the follow-up to really start laying down the pain on that Zealot, but the Mothership Core is up at the right time. Well, any chance of Nexus first certainly gone now with that eBay going down. Flash says, you know what, I want to dictate this economic pace, and that seems to be the way that I can win.
I think that was actually a pretty smart call by Flash. Once you look at that game, I think he probably, took that break and thought about it a little bit and was like, oh my god, what was I even supposed to do there with a Reaper opening against a perfect Nexus first? There was literally no timing in that game that I looked at and thought, oh, Flash can do something here. But herO was completely tight the entire time, so to block that, really smart.
Very true. What I will say about eBay blocking a Protoss is it's kind of like poking a bear with a really sharp stick. It can be effective if you wish to move the bear. The problem is the bear every now and again decides to move towards you, and he's not pleased. And in the case of Protoss, that can be a Twilight Council, which is what we're seeing here from CJ herO.
Well, you call that quite well. I mean, this is a build that I feel like herO is kind of known for a little bit. When he was really having his kind of dominating streak, he did a lot of Blink builds, and he's very, very good at them. Will Flash be able to defend against this? Because this is a pretty good map to do a build like this on for herO.
Will he be able to scout it more to the point? He might get in. No, it's not a terrible Reaper map. You might get in, but it looks like he's not able to for the time being. He may decide to scan. A scan would catch the Twilight Council very easily. It's in a pretty predictable position.
Yeah, that's true. If he just does like a central scan, that would see it. But I guess, that's part of what Protosses do to mess you up is sometimes put it central, sometimes put it on the fringe.
Yeah.
The Reaper trying to get back in, but not quite able to.
Yeah.
Oh, man, he doesn't know quite yet.
No, he doesn't. And he has a bunker. That's not enough to hold this. Not a terrible Blink map, not the best in the world, but it does have that fairly wide open left side next to the ramp there. And I think Flash is definitely smelling it because he's about to place a bunker right there.
Yeah, is this bunker fast enough? I think it is. Yeah, I think he wants to wait for maybe one more round, but the Marine comes out. He verifies what's going on. Now he knows for sure what's happening.
Yeah, nice to pick off the probe, make sure there's not a second pylon put on there. The bunkers are probably gonna get done. I don't know, he's blinking right on top of it right now, and the Time Warp is put down as well, but there's a decent Marauder count there. The bunker is starting to get completed. If he can just finish it, a couple more seconds will give him that bunker. The blink comes off, the bunker is done.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Good thing he finally did get the bunker done and get those units in there that were starting to go bad for him.
Yeah.
hero's already done some reasonable damage, but I think Flash is going to stabilize here.
I think so. Unless, of course, he lets those bunkers die. One goes down. It's not where you want to be. He does still have that second bunker and a few Marauders as well. And just a couple of little nice pickups there. But that's a lot of very, very injured Stalkers. And I have to wonder how long herO continues to commit to this. Obviously, he's forcing a ton of wasted mining time, but he's got to. I mean, he's 10 harvesters behind.
And don't forget, this is a little bit all-inish from herO. He doesn't have any probes at his natural. He's pretty low, so he needs to break through right now. Flash with some great repair. A nice time warp slowing him down, and he does blink into the main.
But he's going up against a lot of Marauders. There are 4, and those are very badly injured Stalkers, and he loses a lot in the process. And herO plummets to 36 supply. And again, still a lot of wasted mining time, but herO doesn't have an economy behind this. He's only just started to build it. When behind, go Dark Shrine once again. Whoa, Flash! Well. The bunker is not your enemy, it's your friend.
I don't know what he was thinking there, but you know what? He's basically held on at this point.
Yep.
herO needs to get lucky to win from here, I would say, right? Because he's got 26 probes only. He's just now starting to mine from his natural base. That's a tough situation to recover from against Flash, even though he ended up killing... I mean, he killed 6 workers. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but he's so far behind in terms of workers. And this DT Gambit, with so much energy saved here by Flash, I think he realized, like, look, that was a failed Blink Stalker all in. There's no way you have economy behind that. So you might try something dodgy. There comes the missile turret. Scan energy is still available. So I don't know where herO goes from here, honestly. Flash is looking great.
Yeah, this really does look good for Flash. He's playing it so smart, as you say. Saving a little bit of scan energy. You know, he's just teching up to his medevacs, getting a missile turret. doing everything exactly as he should right here. And I think herO is starting to realize that, this is even more dire than he thought since that turret's already up.
It really, really is dire. He's now got to, I feel, defend several harass attempts very efficiently, and then maybe backstab if possible with Blink Stalkers. He wants to go, he's going to try and shut down that missile turret while he notices the scan energy on the natural isn't actually there. Flash felt safe, and he was incorrect. That was a lovely move by herO. How much damage can herO actually do with this DT?
Yeah, you're right. That was actually really well done. A very brave move by herO, but he knows it's really his only chance. Oh, Blink's in the wrong direction.
Ouch.
Oh, it's so painful.
Very much so. More Stalkers going down. Flash's medevacs are getting a lot of work done today. They're certainly earning their pay. But the DT has now been cleaned up as a scan goes in there. Only like one worker killed and some wasted mining time and a couple of Marines going down. It's not enough, herO. You're going to need to pull out way more tricks from your bag here.
Yeah, but you know what? He's caught up in the worker count, which is pretty good for him. He's starting charge. I don't know if that's going to come to fruition. But he's also grabbing a forge, making some sentries, basically making units that may allow him to stay alive as Flash does this death march across the map.
Yeah, and Flash is not going to allow herO to just sit back and get back into this game. He knows he's defended that Blink Stalker in about as well as anyone could have. He knows he's in a great spot. He also knows his combat shield is about to be done, which will be absolutely crucial here. Defensively, we're looking at 4 Stalkers, 3 sentries, and a Mothership Core. Maybe the best that herO could possibly hope for is to just hold this back for a while.
Yeah, maybe zone out with that Mothership Core. Of course, there's the threat of a DT, so maybe Flash has to save an extra scan or two. Yeah, it's pretty tough for herO, but he's doing a good job about it, right? He's adding a lot of gates. He's got his economy kind of going. He's getting charge and some upgrades.
Yep.
But this is like really deeply Flash favored. For herO to win this, he's going to need almost a miracle here. He's down 30 supply.
Yeah, Flash is buttoned up as well. He knows the third is vulnerable to DT harass. He already shot that down. He gets good fire and takes down a sentry very quickly. He's going up that ramp. Nothing's going to stop him. There is no force field energy. And Flash smashes the natural ramp. Goes all the way up into the main. A DT comes in, a couple of DTs, and that will certainly help since Flash has really been stimming those units hard, but the amount of damage he was able to do just with that push alone was, in my opinion, worthwhile. He drops them down, realizing, there's nothing else to defend this.
Well, a few Stalkers come up, and these units are badly bruised with low medevac energy, but still not going to be quite enough. Some Zealots do warp in, and I think that'll be enough to finally chase Flash out, but the damage has been done, TotalBiscuit.
It definitely has. He plowed up that ramp, took out all of the high gas units. There's so few. The scan goes down to eliminate that one DT who will not be a herO today. The Marauders tank the Zealots, no problem at all. There's only 2 Stalkers left on the map. There is no Photon Overcharge, no Mothership Core. Flash going for the smash here at the natural expansion, and a brave blink indeed, but I think that's just the charge of the Light Brigade there from herO. There's the GG, and Flash goes through to the winner's match and puts doubts to rest.
Well, he's now won a best of 3. This is looking pretty good. But next, he's going to have to go up against Life. And I do have to say, I think that Life is like the antithesis to Flash or something like that, right? He's like this very aggressive, in-your-face Zerg that always wins best of 3s. So this might be Flash's downfall. I'm not so sure.
It could be. It very well could be. I'm glad to see that Flash is bringing his A game, but, we saw his TVP, and his TVP's always been pretty good. His TVP in Pro League is fantastic. He often has to face top Protoss. He beats them down pretty effectively, but Life is just terrifying, especially against Terran right now. If anyone was going to kill Life off, it would probably have ended up being herO, but herO might not even get a chance to touch him at this point. Especially with herO now going down to face off against Innovation in the lower bracket. And it might be that Life is able to take 2 ZVT in a row.
Yeah, that's I feel like that could be the case. This group is actually shaping up really, really nicely. Even with that losers match, like Innovation and herO actually played in Code S already this season, and herO actually beat him. So that's quite a good little rematch as well.
It absolutely is. You know, I don't think there's a bad combo for this group, or indeed any of these groups, especially if these guys keep playing at their fullest potential. We're not seeing any of these guys so far playing badly. They brought their A game. Obviously, someone has to lose, but these have been very close series, and we've seen impeccable games from pretty much everybody up to this point.
And that's really good to see, because to be perfectly frank, like, I watch all the online qualifiers and stuff, but in online qualifiers, these guys just cheese each other basically every game.
Yeah.
So this is like a lot different. We're actually seeing real macro games, real strats going on, and it is refreshing as hell to see this in an online tournament.
Absolutely. Really, really good. Now, of course, we get to enjoy the winners match. We'll be taking a short break before we do that, but it's going to be the rematch of one of the hypest series of all time, Life versus Flash. I remember it from that one amazing MLG.
The semis, I believe.
Yes, it was.
Sick.
Yeah, I think it was MLG Dallas. It was that huge event as Heart of the Swarm had just kicked off. Everyone was super hyped. And Life versus Flash definitely did not disappoint. Life, of course, took that. But this is a very different era. Very different indeed. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the winners match. Who will go on to day 3? To the round of 4, get a bunch of money in their pocket, and of course, transition to the best of 7 format. And who will fall down to be the final contestant in this group to face the winner of Innovation and CJ herO. We'll find out after the break, folks. This is the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. And here is a word from our sponsors. Hi, my name's John Bain, and it's my pleasure to thank SanDisk for bringing us top-notch StarCraft 2 entertainment at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. When I'm not casting StarCraft 2, it's my job to critique PC games, and to do that, I need the best hardware. One of the best upgrades that you can get for your PC gaming experience is a solid-state drive, so I'd like to encourage you to check out the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. It's engineered for super-fast read and write speeds and consistent high performance 24/7. What does that mean for your games? Faster load times, faster boot times, faster install times. Less downtime, more game time. Plus, they're easy to install, run cool, and are both virtually silent and energy efficient. If you're worried about reliability, no need. SanDisk backs it all up with a 10-year warranty. Game without limits when you step up to the consistent high performance of SanDisk Extreme Pro.